Breaking now, the FBI just announced the arrest of a fugitive on the run for nearly 50 years.
He was serving life in prison for a Molotov cocktail bombing that killed a woman in Homewood back in 1968. 3 years later, in 1971, Leonard Moses escaped from sheriff's deputies while attending his grandmother's funeral. That case stayed cold until last month when he was picked up by police just north of Detroit, and a fingerprint taken way back in 1968 got a match on the FBI database.
This case was never forgotten by our office and by the FBI. They worked on this diligently for all these years, but we were lucky to get a break with St. Clair Shores making an arrest on this case. And it went to go to the family. They can have some relief now. They can have some closure of what happened.
Investigators say Moses was working under an assumed name as a traveling pharmacist. Specifics on why he was arrested in Michigan have not been released. He will be brought back to Pittsburgh to face charges. And Channel 11 is digging into his past. You can look for developing details coming up tonight on Channel 11 News starting at 5.
And more breaking news, the number of new coronavirus cases in Allegheny County nearing 400 again, according to the State Health Department. 378 new cases have been reported in the county. That is 34 fewer cases than yesterday when an all-time high was recorded. Statewide, there are 5,531 new cases. That is another record high for daily increases of cases.
Butler Memorial Hospital is preparing to turn the old Broad Street Elementary School into an overflow area for COVID-19 patients. Within 6 days, the hospital has seen 10 COVID deaths and 30 COVID patients. 6 are in the ICU, 3 of them on ventilators. The hospital isn't overwhelmed yet, but officials say the school could be ready within 48 hours if it's needed. Broad Street Elementary is no longer in use. It has already been fitted with hospital cots, showers, a ventilation system. Emergency workers say staffing is at an all-time low because of the virus.
I think that as you see real life situations where you hear about friends who have had it, coworkers who have had it, somebody in your family who has had it, I think it becomes more real, and we hope that people take that information and utilize it in the most positive way they can.
The hospital is facing a staffing shortage because many of the workers are sick or have to quarantine.
Pitt's football game against Georgia Tech in Georgia this weekend has been put on hold. There are COVID issues on both teams. Pitt suspended all football activities due to the local spike in cases. That comes after the university started their Thanksgiving break shelter-in-place order a few days early. Pitt is not alone, though. 6 other college football games have been postponed this week.
A massive food distribution event will be held this weekend to feed thousands of families. A drive-through food giveaway starts at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning in Newcastle. It will be held at the Cascade Galleria. 2,500 families will be served. The giveaway is being organized by the Now Project, Jubilee Ministries, and the Christian Chamber of Commerce.
A roller coaster week from record high temperatures earlier this week to lows in the 20s this morning.
Meteorologist Jessica Faith has your forecast heading into the weekend. Jessica?
And we're looking beautiful this Friday, a good day to go outside and maybe eat lunch out there. We see the sunshine coming in right now in Pittsburgh. As far as your weekend is concerned, Saturday really looks like the pick to get outside and maybe get things done or just enjoy some fresh air. Sunday, we're expecting some showers coming up in about 15 minutes. I will show you the hour-by-hour latest storm tracker and show you when the rain will come in and when it will move out and how cool it's going to be as we go into the beginning of the next work week. That's all coming up.
There are now only 2 states that have not yet been called in the presidential election. NBC News called Arizona for President-elect Joe Biden this morning after the latest ballot count mathematically eliminated President Donald Trump from winning that state. As of last night, there were just over 10,000 ballots left to count, and the president-elect had an 11,000 vote lead. With Arizona called, that leaves Georgia and North Carolina left to call. A recount is underway in Georgia. Election officials are going to be counting all 5 million votes cast in that state by hand. Right now, Biden is winning by 14,000 votes in Georgia. He has 290 electoral votes. 20 more than the 270 needed. President Trump has not yet conceded. The only other state that has not been called is North Carolina, where ballots had until yesterday to get in as long as they were postmarked by Election Day. President Trump is leading in North Carolina and is expected to win that state.
Back here at home, Westmoreland County commissioners are hearing challenges to mail-in and provisional ballots. At issue is whether to count nearly 400 ballots delivered to the courthouse 9 minutes late. The post office says those ballots were collected on Election Day from surrounding post offices, and they were expedited to try to meet the 8 p.m. deadline. Allegheny County officials continue a review of their ballots. They'll count mail-in and absentee ballots that were postmarked on or before Election Day and received by 5 p.m. last Friday. Officials have counted 724,000 total ballots so far. According to the latest count, President-elect Joe Biden is up by more than 60,000 votes statewide. A coalition of federal agencies involved in election security and representatives for election officials from each state are refuting claims of voter fraud by the president and others. The group put out a statement that says in part the November 3rd election was the most secure in American history. And while we know there are many unfounded claims and opportunities for misinformation about the process of our elections, we can assure you we have the utmost confidence in the security and integrity of the elections, and so should you. That coalition put out the statement includes the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security, and President Trump established that agency 2 years ago.
A historic election for women in our state government. First, Senator Kim Ward of Westmoreland County is the new majority leader in the state Senate. The three-term Republican replaces Senator Jake Corman and becomes the first woman ever to hold the position. And another first, State Representative Joanna McClinton is the first African-American woman to be elected House Minority Leader. State Rep Ed Gainey posted this tweet congratulating McClinton.
Members of a new police reform task force are calling on Pittsburgh officials to act on their recommendations. The 15-member panel was formed in June. In October, they presented a 47-page report to City Council, and there are more than 100 recommendations in the report. A member of the task force told our news partners at the Triv that many of the recommendations are doable right now. Mayor Peduto formed the task force after near-daily protests in the spring and summer. Those protests raised questions about how police respond to protests, what level of force they should use, and how Pittsburgh's police department can be improved.
You will soon have to pay a toll to cross some bridges in Pennsylvania now that a PennDOT plan has been green-lighted. Channel 11's Michelle Chavez spoke with PennDOT and tells us what we can expect.
PennDOT says 5 to 10 major bridges in the state are expected to get these tolls. It's part of an initiative to replace older bridges across the Commonwealth. They're calling it the Major Bridge P3 program, and it'll allow PennDOT to look at which bridges are in dire need of repairs. Then they'll use the tolls to fund the construction. They say the program is very much needed because many of the bridges aren't going to be able to handle the constant traffic of vehicles much longer.
So we're looking for the structural condition of the bridges. Many of our interstate and expressway bridges were designed in the 50s and built in the 60s. So, you know, they're encroaching 60, 70 years of their life cycle.
And coming up at 5, we'll tell you why tolls may be the only option right now and when you should expect to see them. Michelle Chavez, Channel 11 News.
Police are urging drivers to lock their cars. They say thieves are getting away with money and electronics from unlocked vehicles in Whitehall and Baldwin. And they posted this video from a Ring doorbell camera showing 3 people rummaging through a car parked in someone's driveway. Governor Tom Wolf has renewed his opioid disaster declaration to help the state fight the opioid and heroin epidemic. It allows the state to loosen regulations and work outside of typical procedures to expedite help for people who are suffering from addiction. This is the 12th time the declaration has been renewed since January of 2018.
We had some promising news this week on the COVID-19 vaccine front. Finding a vaccine obviously key to reopening, and the biggest surprise may be that scientists created one almost as soon as the virus broke out. NBC's Richard Engel has more on how we got here.
In December 2019, in Wuhan, China, the virus was spreading.
A newly identified deadly virus from China.
45 cases have been reported in China, including 2 deaths.
The Chinese government swooped in with all its authoritarian might. But China did something else few noticed. It made a call for help written in genetic code.
You can identify a virus exactly on that kind of code.
Chinese researchers quickly cracked the code and published it. This is the code China published online. This is SARS-CoV-2. 30,000 characters, the exact formula for what has been disrupting all of our lives and killed more than 1 million people. Professor Robin Shattuck fed that code into a computer and came up with a prototype vaccine within weeks. Nearly all the work since then has been testing.
So this is the original prototype vaccine?
The tube containing the secret to potentially saving millions wasn't even labeled.
Essentially, the vaccine design has not changed.
So it's more or less the same. What you had in the very beginning is what we still have now.
Absolutely.
The greatest scientific race of our lifetimes is nearly over. The next step, just as difficult, a rapid worldwide distribution that's never been done before. Richard Engel, NBC News, London.
Who holds the power to shut down your favorite restaurants in Allegheny County? Target 11 found out more about the COVID-19 response team.
It's really concerning as a parent.
Why parents are frustrated with the way schools are handling the coronavirus crisis.
And we're quiet now, but we do have rain coming our way this week, and I'm looking at the latest storm tracker, and we'll show you what we expect.
And bees may have been behind runway delays at Pittsburgh International. How the airport is saving the bees and trying to get flights in the air on time. PPG is working to get approval for paint they say can kill COVID-19. The company's teaming with Corning. The new technology is called Guardiant, and it's an additive put into paint that contains copper. Copper has been shown to exhibit antimicrobial effectiveness that consistently kills or reduces germs. Both companies say Guardiant can kill 99.9% of the virus that causes COVID-19, and they're now trying to get EPA registration.
Parents are struggling with one question. With cases rising, is it still safe to send your child to school? There are 6 active cases in the West Allegheny School District that have 54 people in quarantine.
It's really concerning as a parent. It just really bothers me. I'm ready to take my daughter back out of school, but I don't think that's best for her. But with the number of cases, I'm leaning more towards keeping her home.
Channel 11's Aaron Martin spoke with some frustrated parents wondering what school leaders are doing in the face of the rising cases.
For November 1st, November 3rd, November 4th, November 6th, November 9th.
Amy Regani has tracked every email she's received from the West Allegheny School District announcing a new COVID-19 case. They're now coming almost daily.
It's scary because my son, he has asthma. He's at high risk. I'm at high risk because I have mild COPD.
According to the district's website, there were 8 active cases with another 56 students and staff in quarantine. Students have been in the classroom full time since August.
It's really concerning as a parent. It just really bothers me. I'm ready to take my daughter back out of school, but I don't think that's best for her. But with the number of cases, I'm leaning more towards keeping her home.
In the email, the district told parents other than quarantined individuals, there is no additional school action necessary. The district also said it's following daily comprehensive cleaning and disinfecting protocols. But with the recent surge in cases, parents we spoke with say more action needs to be taken.
I love the school district. I really do. That's why I live here. That's why my daughter goes to that school.
That's right.
But right now, I want answers.
Aaron Martin, Channel 11 News.
And the district told us that 75% of families opted for 5-day in-person instruction when they were given the choice of that, hybrid or synchronous and asynchronous online instruction. It also said that contact tracers have determined the majority of the cases were related to out-of-school exposure. The district said it also implemented a rigorous safety approach, including classroom restructuring for social distancing, masks, desk disinfecting, and hygiene guidelines and hospital-grade disinfecting procedures.
School districts changed the ways they operate in an effort to protect students during the pandemic, but some districts are still concerned about possible lawsuits, and now they're asking state lawmakers for protection. Despite their best efforts, students are still getting sick, and school leaders worry that even though it's not always spread through the classroom, what's to stop a family from suing their district? For the most part, public schools are protected from liability by the state, but there are exceptions. So now the Pennsylvania School Board Association is calling on state lawmakers to close the loopholes. The move would limit unreasonable, lawsuits and prevent districts from spending tax dollars on legal fees. The board says special interest groups are blocking lawmakers from trying to make the changes.
The Penguins have missed a deadline to buy the land needed to develop the former Civic Arena site. The team's chief operating officer blames the delay on the pandemic. He told our partners at the Pittsburgh Business Times that they are still on track to secure the land and start construction early next year. Current plans look to build the new First National Bank headquarters, a music venue, and parking garage at the arena site. The URA and the City Allegheny County Sports and Exhibition Authority must sign off on an extension.
The countdown continues. The astronauts are ready for a historic SpaceX launch from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. After a successful test flight earlier this year, tomorrow NASA begins what they expect to be regular, continuous commutes to the International Space Station in a spaceship created by someone else. NBC's Jay Gray takes a closer look at the huge step bringing spaceflight back to the U.S.
Hey there, and it looks like at this point everything is a go right now here at Kennedy Space Center for tomorrow's launch of the Falcon 9 rocket, right now on pad 39B and ready for liftoff tomorrow evening. This is really a big change in the way America has explored space from the past. They'll be flying in a rocket that is built here in America, but not by NASA, lifting off from U.S. soil. You know, for 10 years, our astronauts had to hitch a ride with the Russians. That's all changing now. Had a good test flight in May, and now this will be the first operational flight of this new public-private partnership. Everyone looking forward to a clean launch here tomorrow.
This is truly a new era of human spaceflight, and I couldn't be more pleased with what the NASA and SpaceX team has accomplished. It's truly an exciting time.
So the pre-launch countdown does continue. A few different phases they've got to get through before launch. Of course, the biggest wild card, like always here, is the weather. It's been a bit cloudy today, some spitting rain, but nothing serious. Still, NASA meteorologists believe things are going to clear out. Right now, it looks like it's going to be a good day for launch, a go. So we keep our fingers crossed. That's the latest from here at Kennedy Space Center. I'm Jay Gray. Now back to you.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
And it's a good launch here for whatever your plans are this afternoon, this Friday at midday. We're looking pretty good, clearing out just a few sprinkles earlier this morning. That is now pushed off toward the east, and we're looking dry. Get a bit of sunshine coming in, a few clouds in the sky. And we could use that sunshine because we're still quite cool out there. We're in the 40s, 49 degrees right now in Pittsburgh, with a westerly flow coming in at about 8 miles per hour. If you're headed outside this afternoon, looking good, may want to grab your sunglasses and a jacket because we're going to continue to keep temperatures in the 50s, around 53 degrees at 2 o'clock. Then around 4 o'clock, getting into the low to mid 50s, around 54 degrees after sunset. We'll continue to drop those temperatures, getting into the lower 50s by 6 o'clock. And then we have some much cooler air coming in, dropping temperatures for tonight in a pretty big way. I mean, just check it out. We have 20s on the map and also a few 30s, upper 20s, lower 30s. We have 29 degrees projected for the overnight low in Pittsburgh. You're going to want to keep warm tonight, have those heaters running, maybe an extra blanket tonight. Dropping into the mid 20s for Washington, 25 degrees, Uniontown 30 degrees. Overall, your Saturday is looking pretty good. Yes, we are off to a cool start. Temperatures will warm, though, staying in the 50s. It's going to be a cool day. It's going to be dry, get a bit of sunshine, and then we switch it up on Sunday with a pretty hefty rain chance with our next system. So that rain pushing in overnight, get a bit of rain for the early morning hours for most. And then we're going to continue to increase rain chances from the west toward the east. Some periods of heavier downpours. The rain will mainly be during the first half of the day. Here's 10 o'clock. Still looking like many spots being wet by this time. And then we're going to continue to push that rain out by 3 o'clock, looking much better. And we're going to continue to trend drier as we go later into the evening hours. So the Steelers game overall good to go for Sunday. Maybe a lingering isolated shower, but the forecast will be quite nice for the afternoon and evening hours on Sunday. Much cooler air, though, coming in behind that system that will first bring us showers early on Sunday. Just notice the drop in temperatures there. We go from the 50s, upper 50s actually for Sunday, down into the 40s for Monday. Then those overnight lows drop as well. And we're possibly looking at flurries on Tuesday. I have more details coming up in the next 30 minutes.
Trouble in Toyland, the new list of toys to avoid buying next.
Porch Pirates will have new opportunities this holiday. The shocking price all the front door burglaries add up to. With the peak of online holiday shopping just around the corner, 'tis the season for porch pirates. A survey by Finder.com reports porch pirates accounted for $5.4 billion in thefts over the past year. That amounts to about $157 worth of packages stolen from the average American right at their front door. Experts worry the problem will get worse, with online buys expected to be up 11% this year over last. Here is one way to stop porch pirates. Amazon is expanding in-garage delivery to more than 4,000 cities. The service, available to Prime members, is contactless, which obviously is a concern during the COVID-19 pandemic. You use an app giving delivery drivers access to your garage. Amazon customers can also get groceries delivered from Whole Foods Market or Amazon Fresh.
Alligators are commonplace in Florida, but a massive alligator stunned a golf pro at a country club in Naples. He was working at the club Wednesday when he spotted that monster right there, and of course did a double take at first, and then he got a little closer to get a better look, and when he realized it was a gator and not a dinosaur, that's when he started recording.
I don't even think the video does it justice, really. Like, in person, it looked gigantic. Yeah, it looked like a Jurassic Park creature.
There you go, see? Turns out the gator is no stranger, though. He's a regular there, and the neighbors have nicknamed him Al.
Yeah, I think they have to find a better spot for him out in the wild somewhere. Well, you probably had your temperature checked before entering a local business. Why those symptom checks may not be foolproof.
And a task force created to investigate COVID-19 violations at bars and restaurants. But who is really running it? Target 11 investigates. Next.
Temperatures dipped into the 20s this morning, but I guess not a bad start to the weekend.
Well, let's head back over to Jessica Faith with her forecast now and more on what we can expect. Jess?
Yeah, temperatures are improving this midday and will continue to rise as we go later into the afternoon hours. Right now, we have 40s and 50s on the board. Not that bad, but you'll want something on your arms, a good jacket as you head out and about for this lunchtime hour. We have 42 in Beaver, 52 rather in Beaver, 49 in Pittsburgh, 50 degrees in Washington. We will be back into the 20s tonight, and then a blast of cooler air comes behind our next system as we go into the beginning of the new work week. We're even talking flurries possible. I have more details for you coming up in about 15 minutes.
Allegheny County created a COVID response team to investigate restaurants and bars, and they've been checking to make sure that they're complying with social distancing and other health regulations.
Well, we wanted to know more about this team, who they are, their qualifications, and what they're paid. Target 11 investigator Rick Earl has the documents that answer some of those questions.
We submitted a right-to-know request to get more information about the COVID response team. And through that request, we discovered that the county outsourced this to a local staffing agency that they've worked with in the past. Integrative Staffing Group of Coriopolis is the company responsible for hiring members of the county's COVID response team. They declined to comment and referred us to the county. The county wouldn't talk on camera, but did provide some more information. Documents obtained by Target 11 from that right-to-know request revealed that Allegheny County has had a $1.6 million contract with the company for at least the past 4 years to provide temporary staffing to county departments. Did you even know about this?
No, the first time I found out about this is whenever you reached out to me, but unfortunately, I'm not surprised at all. A lot of the processes that we've been seeing taking place, especially regarding the COVID-19 response, has kept us completely in the dark.
That's Allegheny County Council member Bethany Hallam after learning from Target 11 that members of the COVID response team are not full-time county employees, but temporary contracted workers.
We are supposed to be the county who favors blue-collar workers and union jobs, and instead we're contracting out to temporary employees where we can almost guarantee they're not being treated with the same respect and held up to the same standard that our county union employees are.
According to the staffing agency's job posting, workers are paid $15 per hour plus mileage. Candidates must be at least 21 with a background in inspection, security, quality assurance, or secret shopping. The team responsible for confirming COVID-19 protocols at restaurants, including face covering, social distancing, and capacity. A county spokesperson says new hires go through both in-house and field training and how to educate restaurant owners. After surveying restaurants, team members fill out a report that's posted on the county website for public viewing. Restaurants that don't make changes could be shut down.
I understand they have to do their job.
Rod Ambrogi is the president of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Restaurant and Tavern Association and owner of Al's Cafe in Bethel Park. In August, he opened bar seating against health department orders, but continued social distancing and added temperature checks.
I welcome them to come in to check our kitchen, our facilities, the sanitation, and let them know that I'm following the CDC's guidelines.
The COVID response team did show up and found some employees not properly wearing masks and customers at the bar. A follow-up assessment found face masks in order, but customers still at the bar. Ambrogi told me he met with the health department supervisor, and he's still operating that way.
One of the things that's very concerning to me is I've been reading through a lot of the reports that we've been seeing, especially in regards to local bars and restaurants. And the way that I've been seeing these places be evaluated are inconsistent from location to location. And the fact that I now know that we're using contracted temporary workers makes a lot of sense because these aren't unionized county employees that are held to a specific standard.
And the contract with that staffing company expired back in January, but was extended until this coming January so the county could create the COVID response team. With the surging cases now, it will likely be extended into the new year. Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
Despite growing concerns, a new survey finds fewer Americans are open to another COVID-19 lockdown. Almost half of Americans polled in October said they would be willing to stay at home for a month if officials ordered a lockdown. That is down from 67% in March and April. Gallup found a political divide, with 87% of Democrats saying they are willing to stay at home compared to 40% of Republicans.
Over the long haul this year, Americans feeling more confident that they can protect themselves from getting sick.
Gallup found more Americans are worried about the pandemic. 61% say they believe the situation is getting worse compared to 40% in April. Starting Monday, Costco will have a new mask policy. All members, guests, and employees will have to wear a face covering. The company says if a shopper has a medical condition, then they have to wear a face shield. This will not apply to children under 2.
Well, by now you've probably had your temperature checked at a business or a doctor's office. A new study finds that symptom screenings miss many cases of COVID-19. Channel 11's Samantha Manning explains extra measures did not stop the virus from spreading among a group of Marine recruits.
It's a sight we've come to accept. A new study finds temperature and COVID-19 symptom checks, like the ones used at schools and doctors' offices, are not enough for catching infections and preventing outbreaks. Researchers recently looked at more than 1,800 Marine recruits. They were all told to isolate for 2 weeks at home, then in a supervised military quarantine at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, for 2 more weeks. The recruits had daily fever and symptom checks and followed other restrictions like wearing masks. 16 tested positive on arrival for the military quarantine, and only 1 had any symptoms. Another 35 recruits tested positive during the 2-week quarantine. 4 of them had symptoms. None of the infections was caught through symptom screening. Genetic testing revealed 6 separate clusters of cases among the recruits. The research is published in the New England Journal of Medicine. I'm Samantha Manning reporting.
412 Food Rescue has been very busy, and last night they got some much needed help with a virtual fundraiser called Yin's Citizen. The event helped the Food Rescue make sure that they have enough food for everyone through the holidays. In years past, 1 in 8 people did not know where their next meal would come from, and COVID has made it worse. 412 Food Rescue has kept more than 10 million pounds of food from going to waste since it began in 2015 in Pittsburgh and Beaver County.
Has your flight ever been delayed at Pittsburgh International? Bees may have been behind the slowdown. How the airport is saving the bees and trying to get flights in the air on time. Pittsburgh International is getting some positive buzz for how they handled a unique problem. The airport was just given an award by the state for starting their own apiary for bees.
And we're talking millions of bees. Our Tricia Pittman got a behind-the-scenes tour and found out how keeping the bees on the property helps keep flights on time.
While passenger volume at Pittsburgh International is slowly getting back to normal, there is a big buzz happening just off of the tarmac.
In 2012 in August, we had a Delta flight going to LaGuardia. As they were loading the plane, a swarm of bees came across the airfield and actually landed on the winglet of the aircraft. All the ground crews kind of stepped back away from it. With the initial fear of stinging insects, nobody wanted to get around it.
It'd be easy enough to go out, spray them, kill them, and move on. But Pittsburgh International does not do that and refuses to do that, which is great for the honeybees.
And great for Western Pennsylvania in general. The program that the airport implemented has a direct impact on a large percentage of everything that we eat.
Honeybees are declining. They're a species of concern in that they're responsible for upwards of 80% of the food that we eat.
That's right, these bees are pollinating the fruits and vegetables we eat. And by having colonies all around the airport, the bees are no longer hanging out on airplane wings. Right now, the bees are getting ready for winter, but in the spring and summer, there are twice as many bees in the airport hives. As you look at the current numbers and then double them, it's pretty mind-blowing.
So listen to these numbers. In each colony, there's 10 to 20,000 bees. In this field where I'm standing, there's 30 individual colonies. And throughout airport property, there's 9 different locations, 110 colonies total. If you weren't able to do the math fast enough, there's over 4 million bees.
Pittsburgh International has a lot to be proud of with their honeybee program. This year, the program received the Governor's Award for Environmental Excellence.
Tricia Pittman, Channel 11 News.
Trouble in Toyland, the new list of toys to avoid buying next.
And it will be nice today, but much cooler air is coming our way, including maybe some flurries in the next few days. You'll want to stick around for these details.
A new report on the toys you should avoid buying is out. The Illinois Education Fund released its Trouble in Toyland guide ahead of the start of the retail rush. Small parts and choking hazards remain a big risk to children. Also on the report are animals like the calico critters, high-powered magnets, and excessively noisy toys. The group says a new challenge this year is many toys bought online are not suitable for younger children, despite what the description reads.
Siblings playing at home more often, together indoors, oftentimes maybe sharing toys that may be appropriate for an older child that could pose a risk for a younger child.
The group also reminds parents to be wary of recalled toys that can be sold on resale sites.
The monthly payments for cars may look like they're dropping. The catch is how many months you have to pay. Our Clark Howard has some advice you may not want to miss, or may not want to hear, actually, if you're looking for a shiny new car.
This is unreal. The average car loan now is just short of 71 months long, almost 6 full years, with a monthly payment of $500+. This is so dangerous to your wallet, because the entire time you're paying on that loan, you are upside down in your vehicle, owing more on it than what it's worth. And with those ultra-long loan terms, you're paying massive amounts of interest, where so much of your monthly payment, month after month, instead of going to pay for the vehicle, is going to pay for interest. Simple rule for you. Never take out a vehicle loan longer than 42 months. If you can't afford the payment on a vehicle you're interested in at 42 months, it means you need to buy a cheaper vehicle. It's not fun, it's not what you want at the car dealer, but your life will be a lot more fun not facing that loan month after month after month. I'm Clark Howard.
The city of Pittsburgh has unveiled a new plan to focus on clean energy. These 8 cities, which include Pittsburgh, are calling on the federal government to support climate-friendly industrial growth. The University of Pittsburgh was involved in the research.
We're reaching out to the coal companies. We're reaching out to the gas companies. We're reaching out to the oil companies. And we're saying, look, there's a tectonic shift happening throughout this world on where we're going with energy.
The plan calls for $60 billion each year for the next 10 years. The money will be used for grants and loans to reduce carbon energy production.
The Brothers Brother Foundation of Pittsburgh is sending help to those affected by Hurricane Ada. They are helping a food bank in Florida get supplies to families. They'll also be shipping safety equipment and medicine to Honduras and Guatemala, where the storm made landfall as a Cat 4 hurricane.
Your severe winter Teen 11 forecast.
And Central America actually has another system approaching its way, maybe Iota, in the next few hours. Already a very battered area. We're going to continue to keep you updated on that. As far as our weather here, we're staying dry. We're staying dry for the rest of the day. If you have any plans, maybe you want to wash your car, feel free to do so. We're staying dry for tomorrow, but rain comes back on Sunday, not for the entire day, but for most of the daylight hours. Here's your Sunday rainfall forecast. So during the first half of the day, especially during the morning, that's when we're really expecting the bulk of the rainfall, and then dwindling down from there. So mainly for the early afternoon hours, we'll hold on to a pretty hefty rain chance later into the afternoon and evening hours. That's where we're going to start to see activity decrease in a pretty big way. So for the Steelers game, maybe a few isolated showers still lingering around, but really looking good to go for the rest of the game, especially later into the nighttime hours. Along with the rain comes some very gusty winds. I want to show you later in the nighttime on Saturday. Watch how the winds really increase. So they start really calm and then increase into the 30s, around 30 miles per hour in Pittsburgh, and really stay pretty elevated throughout the morning into the afternoon hours. So we're looking at some pretty strong winds as that system approaches and moves through. So kind of a calm day on Saturday and really ramping up those wind speeds going into throughout your day on Sunday. So just keep that in mind. Behind that system, so much cooler air comes into play. So we're going to drop temperatures in a pretty big way today. we're in the 50s, 54 degrees for today's high. Lower 50s for tomorrow. Still a nice day. We're staying dry. We're staying sunny. And then rain chances come back on Sunday like I just showed you. Temperatures in the upper 50s. We go from the upper 50s down into the 40s, around 46 degrees. But we're still going to get much colder as we go into the days ahead into the new work week. So we start out the day, throughout the day on Monday, looking quiet even during the nighttime hours. But we could have some wintry precipitation, some snow possible as we go throughout the overnight into the early morning hours on Tuesday. Still keeping a pretty good chance throughout the day as well. That's what we're seeing now. Things could change. We're a few days away, so continue to check in as we fine-tune that forecast, but just giving you a heads up that we could see some flurries on Tuesday. Here's your 5-day forecast. Quiet as we wrap up this week. Showers on Sunday, much cooler air Monday and Tuesday into the 40s, overnight lows in the 30s, and again, could see flurries on Tuesday.
He was the chart throb, you might say, of Decision 2020. How Steve Kornacki is having an impact now at the Gap. First, though, here's local Steals and Deals' Lisa Robertson.
Well, let me tell you what's going on. This is an idea that you're going to say, why didn't I think of that? This is the touchscreen purse, and right now we're all trying to be as clean as possible, simplify our lives as much as possible, be as organized as much as possible, really be aware of our surroundings. You know how that goes? This is such a fabulous idea because when I leave the house, I have to have my phone. Now, oh my gosh, I need my hands. Do I put my phone down? No. Now, I have it. This touchscreen purse has a great place to put my phone in the back, but here's the unbelievable part. This really works. Oh my gosh, I love it. It works with all different sizes of phones, and the phone can be in the case, and you have space for keys and readers and lip gloss and whatever you want to have in there, which I have all my stuff in there, so it's all good to go. I'm not the only one who thinks it's a great idea. Laura Grenier from Shark Tank, who is a sweetheart, by the way, thinks it's a great idea as well. We have different patterns and different colors, so you can definitely have them to match different outfits. But now when you leave the house, you're not going to have to go, oh no, I don't want to put my phone down on the table and walk away. Oh no, I have too many things in my hand, right? How easy and streamlined and efficient is your life? Voila! Crossbody, RFID protection, adjustable, all the technology you want, and it's going to work with any of the phones that you use. By the way, it's also 20% off on localsteals.com.
Lights and the sound of slot machines will greet visitors when they walk into Westmoreland County's new casino. Our partners at the Trib got a look inside the $150 million casino opening soon at the Westmoreland Mall in Hempfield. There are 750 slot machines and 30 table games with plexiglass barriers for COVID. The 100,000 square foot facility set to open in 2 weeks.
November is a bad month for turkeys. I think we can agree on that. But one turkey in Boston is taking his frustration out on people. It didn't take this TV crew very long to find the turkey. When they arrived at Hyde Park, he was forcing a guy back into his car. The turkey then went across the street and blocked a couple from leaving their home before turning his attention to the reporter, there he goes, and his microphone. One woman felt the wrath of the turkey earlier this week when it pecked and bruised her.
He jumped at my arm, and like turkeys have spurs on the back of their claws, and he nicked me with it. I finally had to hit him with my purse to get him to leave me alone.
So it is kind of funny, right? But people are hoping that turkey leaves their neighborhood, and soon.
All right, we come into Election Day with Joe Biden ahead in the national polls and certainly ahead.
Well, he was the star of election coverage on MSNBC, and now Steve Kornacki is helping The Gap. Call it the Kornacki effect. Khakis are a signature part of his look, and The Gap says its khaki sales have spiked since the election.
Big in 2020. That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5.
Thank you for watching, and have a great day.